Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting out war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to start collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Flesh Eater Court's Army box set. Now, in this video, we're going to go through all the units that come inside the box set, which are all brand new Flesh Eater Court's models, and for the most part, units as well, excluding the Vargulf Courtier. And then we're going to take a look at some other units we can use to expand upon this initial purchase, which at the time of video may or may not be officially released from GW, but they will be coming in the near future. And then finally, at the end of the video, we are going to do a little sample army list of 1,000 points, putting this all into practice, giving you a little sample army using this box set as the core, hopefully as some inspiration to get you started in your own force. Now, I do want to point something out really cool if you haven't noticed it with the army box set picture here. Look at the pack that your cards come in for the box. It's actually a Noble Knight. I absolutely love this little nod to the Delusions, where you have, the Noble Knight there, but it's actually the Gore Warden that we see on the front. Now, speaking of the Gore Warden, this is the character that's going to lead the box set. It has 7 wounds, 4+ save, bravery 10, and a movement of 12 inch. You got 5 attacks at 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 2 with a 1 inch range in melee, which is pretty nice. The model can fly, as you would expect with something with giant wings. It also has the ability to cast spells. It's a wizard which can cast and unbind and dispel 1 spell each phase, and Royal Blood means it does do some healing. Royal Hunting Party is its big ability, where instead of setting this unit up on the battlefield, you can place it to one side, and effectively you can set up a friendly unit of Crypt Flayers or Morbeg Knights near it and set them up off the table as well. Now, Winds of Shaiish is a spell this model has where you can cast it. If successfully cast, you pick a friendly Flesh Eater Court unit that can fly and is wholly within range and visible to cast you. You remove this unit and the unit you pick from the battlefield and then set them up again anywhere. So it's a teleport for him and his friends, probably the ones he took into the off-board Deep Strike ability as well. Joining this, we then have a second character for the box set, and this is the Vargulf Courtier. The Vargulf has definitely got a brand new model here that looks absolutely amazing. It's still a character, has 8 wounds, 10 inch move, 4+ save. It no longer flies though, which is one big thing. Now, King's Champion at the start of the combat phase, you can say this unit will use this ability and it will get +2 attacks, though it can only target units with a wounds characteristic of 1 or 2 if it does. This does increase its attacks quite drastically. As standard, it has 5 attacks with its immense claws at 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 2, and another attack with the dagger-like fangs at 3s and 2s, rend 2, damage 3. You also have the Bounding Strides, where when this unit makes a move, it can pass across terrain features as if it could fly, so in the same manner as a model with fly, so it doesn't have fly per se, but has an ability very much like it. Victory Feast is its last rule, where at the end of the combat phase, if any enemy models were slain by wounds, it can heal up to D6. In addition, at the end of the combat phase, this unit can immediately retreat, which is a really, really powerful ability, especially if you are sort of trying to go for, the double turn or steal objectives. Massive, massive ability on the Vargulf. Next, we have our other brand new unit of Knights, and this is the unit of Morbeg Knights. They'll be going alongside our Abhorrent Gore Warden in Deep Strike most of the time, and they're a really solid unit. 3 wounds apiece, 4+ save, and movement 12 with fly. Their mounts are obviously going to be the weird little bat-like Night Shriekers that they are mounted upon. Standard-wise, their Grizzly Lance are 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1, though they do have on top of that, the attacks from the Vicious Claws and Teeth from the mounts, we use our damage 2 at 3 attacks each, 3s and 3s, rend 1. The Horn Blower means you can add 1 to run and charge rolls for the unit, which is really nice, meaning coming in from Deep Strike, you'll have an 8 inch charge on them. And the Standard Bearer as well means if the unit has made a charge move in the same turn, each model in this unit counts as 3 for the purposes of contesting objectives. It's actually really cool at stealing objectives off your opponent from Deep Strike. Shrieking Charge means enemy units cannot use Unleash Hell against them in the phase that they charge. In addition, for each model that makes it within an inch of the enemy, roll a dice on a 4+ and D3 mortal wounds to the enemy units. Lastly, the unit also has Retreat and Charge later in the turn as well, another solidly powerful unit. Lastly, we have the Crypt Guard, and these guys are like a sort of protector unit for our characters. They have a wound each, 5+ save, movement 6, they've got 2 attacks at 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1. Big thing here is Royal Bodyguard, where they have a 5+ ward, and you add 1 to ward rolls for friendly Flesh Eater Court's heroes, wholly within 3 inch of them. You've got your musician in there, which add 1 to your run and charge, and your standard bearer allows you, if the unit fails a battle shock test, to halve the number of models that flee. Lastly, the Armory of Madness. If any wounds caused by this unit's attacks are all allocated to an enemy unit, the enemy unit cannot issue or receive commands until the end of a turn, so it can be pretty cool to turn off things like Inspiring Presence. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. Now, looking at where to go next, we definitely want to bring in more characters to the force. These are going to allow us to get those royal points to allow us to bring back units or heal our other friendly fleshly court units. The first of these I want to look at is the Abhorrent Cardinal. This is a really cool model. It's going to bring prayers to your list, so with this and Gore Warden, you're going to have prayers and spells available to you. You've got the ability of Royal Blood to do some healing, and Speak in Tongues, which is a prayer on the war scroll of this model. Answer value of 4, range of 18. You pick an enemy unit and within range, visible, and roll a dice each time the enemy unit receives a command. On a 4+, the command will have no effect. Now, we definitely do want extra characters. Now, if we're looking for maybe a cheaper character option we can take, the Royal Decapitator is really dirt cheap for our characters. Execution is Entourage, means in the combat phase, if this unit is fought first, it can bring a Surf unit into combat with it. And off at the head at the end of the combat phase, if any wounds were caused by this headsman's axe that were allocated to a hero, and that hero has not been slain, you roll a dice. On a 5+, that hero is slain, which could be really, really cool if you can just punch through one of his 3 attacks at 4s and 3s, rend 2, damage 3, onto a hero monster. Could be pretty darn cool. Now, looking at some other units, if we go with the Abhorrent Cardinal, we're going to have a few less points. So this means we're probably going to look at taking a unit like the Royal Beast Flayers, who are a fun unit to take in the force. Royal Beast Flayers are going to have the ability to sort of turn monsters into not as effective monsters, essentially. They're going to reduce the damage characteristic of enemy models that they're near, and they also are going to add 2 to their own movement while they're nearby any models of 18 inch. Regular Crypt Ghouls are the other options we have access to. Probably going to take this if we look at the Royal Decapitator. Regular Crypt Ghouls now come in units of 20, which is amazing. Able to get quite a few bodies on the table, and in concert with some other units that can be really quite useful. So your Crypt Ghouls as standard are going to just have 2 attacks at 4s and 4s, no rend, and damage 1. But the champion model in the unit is going to get you an extra attack. Boundless Ferocity means if your modified hit for an attack is a 6, you'll actually automatically wound the target. And if the unit has 20 or more models, you automatically wound on a 5 or 6, which means you can get quite a bit through. Lastly, if you've got any courtiers near them, or for any abhorrents, you can actually get some extra rend on the unit. Lastly though, looking at bringing in the endless spells, we have a wide variety of different ones that are quite interesting. Cadaverous Barricade is a terrain feature that set up and stops our opponent being able to retreat, which can be really cool if we are going to get in prolonged combat, so we want to get stuck in. Chalice of Usharan is going to allow us to do some healing nearby, and the Corpse Mare Stampede is just some direct damage dealing. And so, here we have our sample army list. Now, we've gone for Morgaunt as our army. I think if you're starting out with Fleshly Courts, this is probably the simplest way to go to get an army on the force. Morgaunt is just going to get you a Noble Deed point on every one of your heroes at the end of a turn if that hero is contesting an objective. No, contesting, not controlling. And then, obviously, Mortal Realm Ashayish. And we've gone for the grand strategy, Defend the Throne, which is just keeping our Charnel throne safe. We also do have to have a friendly character in it. Now, we've then got no triumph because we are a perfect 1,000 points. If we're maybe playing, a Path to Glory game or something where we're down a few points, we might get a triumph. I'd probably go for the Rerolls Charge if you want. That could be something useful on the Gore Warden to keep in with his Morbeg Knights. Speaking of the Abhorrent Gore Warden, he's going to be our general, and then we're going to go with the command trait, which is going to be Shadowy Obfuscation. This means he can't be targeted by attacks outside of 12 inch. The Grim Garland is another cool ability. This is going to put a bravery debuff around him, and then Deranged Transformation is going to mean we can get +1 wound on potentially up to 3 different friendly units. The Abhorrent Cardinal is gone with Charnel Conviction. Those could easily be swapped out for Curse. I think this is just nice to potentially have any of our units that are maybe stretching out, or if we're going to push off with an early Alpha Strike, or even having the Beast Slayer as a defensive unit. We certainly could swap this prayer out if we want, because those Crypt Guard, while they are going to be near our units, are going to be pushing out, but they will have that 5-up if they're near any characters. Lastly, we have the 10 Royal Beast Flayers, which have the Offal Hounds and the Beast Flayers Master in there, 3 Morbeg Knights as well, and then a Cadaverous Barricade as well, which I think is a really interesting thing when you've got Crypt Guard, who can stop things potentially, using their commands later in the turn. Having the Cadaverous Barricade to stop them being able to retreat out from those things is going to be nice. 1,000 points on the nose though, with 63 wounds, 8 drops if you're not playing with core battalions. If you are, you could probably fit all of this in a single 1-drop battle regiment. But this is a fun way to start your Flesh Eater Courts. If you've got some ideas on what you're going to add to your initial Flesh Eater Courts army, let us know down in the comments. You could easily with this swap out the Abhorrent Cardinal, Cadaverous Barricade, and those Beast Flayers from some Crypt Ghouls and the Executioner. You'll find the points there for it. But a really fun little army list to put together. Let us know your thoughts on the new Flesh Eater Courts down in the comments below. And so, that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below, letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our great little community here, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description, and also linked down there are the best ways to help support the channel as well. Our Patreon and YouTube members down there are fantastic ways to help support the channel, and if you'd like to get a shout out like all these people, you can go and join up today. So with that said, we'd like to give a shout out to all our Patreon and YouTube members. So thank you to our Patreons: Rob B, Broken Chef, Andy C, Grimscold, Colorblind Magic, Benjamin Swallows, James Cater, Mark Harvey, Domir, Average Wargamer, Q Darmac, Andrew Bowen, Outer and Shot First, Kenny Lowe and Soren, and to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, James Tillman, Disco, John Castle, and Gargamel196. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.